Let's go for it!
So I knew that Built to Spill would be a highlight for me. I've loved this band for 20 plus years, going all the way back to 1993 when the Ultimate Alternative Waivers album came out, and I realized, oh, this is the guy from the Tree People who I'd been listening to prior. If you go back about 2.5 years or so to 2015, I did a review of Built to Spill's show at the Slowdown from May in 2015. But since that time, the band's lineup has changed. Built to Spill has reverted back to its trio form. It had started off as a 3-piece, then it built out to 4, then 5, occasionally even 6, with just this massive wall of sound of guitar players. And Doug Marsh is no lie like a Hendrix-level genius on guitar, but when you layer your records with so many different guitar parts, you obviously can't do that if you're just one person. So now they're back to being a trio. I kind of wondered, well, is that gonna be like an issue or something? And thankfully it wasn't at all. The band was performing songs from its Keep It Like a Secret album, considered by many to be their best. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that. I mean, it's an awesome album. I mean, start to finish, it's great. Continues in the line of a lot of great records from that band, all from that period. I mean, I don't know which is my favorite album. It's kind of hard to say because I really love Perfect From Now On. I like There's Nothing Wrong with Love. I like pretty much every album that they've made. Do you like the more jammy stuff? Do you like the more just short, condensed pop song? After kind of a rough start, the first song was a little bit rough. They got right into it, and this show is pretty much the highlight for me. I mean, I love the band Built to Spill. and this was just another great set from the band in yet another incarnation of it. Loved it. And later on, when I bumped into Doug Marsh after the fact, he remembered my name. It is such a minor thing, but it's like, hey, Doug Marsh came over to me. It was like, hey, Dave. And it was like, yeah, Doug Marsh, dude, what's up? Okay, next up was Belle and Sebastian. They were over on the big stage, and Belle and Sebastian is a band that I've been listening to for a really long time. They're one of the indie rock darlings. They've been around for like 20 years. I was glad that Belle and Sebastian came here because this gave me an opportunity to see them. The highlight of their set was when they invited about 20 people from the crowd to kind of come up on stage and sing along, or dance along, I should say. They didn't give them microphones. To dance along to them playing the song The Boy with the Arab Strap, which is one of their best known songs. And among the people, there were some people from the crowd. There were also one or two festival volunteers. And if you look closely, I spy a couple members of Priests and a couple of the two Hotman sisters up there. Maybe someone else, I can't really tell. But that was pretty cool, just seeing them up there, having a good time, really enjoying that sort of setup. Nobody else did that the whole day for this festival. So Belle and Sebastian wrapped up about 8 o'clock, so the sun was starting to come down. We moved back over to my stage, and Sleigh Bells was coming up next. Sleigh Bells is a two-piece band from Brooklyn, New York. Although live, they do play with a third member, a touring member who plays guitar also, who's also their guitar tech, so he was there setting everything up. What I thought was really cool was the guy was wearing a t-shirt with an old photo of Ozzy Osbourne holding up Randy Rhoads with him playing guitar. It's like a classic shot. He was wearing that, and when he was checking the guitars, when they were doing their line check before their set, he was playing like Def Leppard and Van Halen licks and stuff like that, and was pulling them off great. Now, I'd always known of the band Sleigh Bells as more of an electronic band with like this pulsating kind of almost industrial beat. And, people who know me and know my musical taste, who follow this channel, know that that's not necessarily my thing. So I have a couple of Sleigh Bell records because of the radio show, so I'm familiar with the band. I've played them once or twice on the show. But I didn't know, they weren't one of the bands I was looking forward to the most. But I have to say, now that I've seen them, I totally misjudged the band. They put on one fucking hell of a show. They were so fucking charged up. It was nuts. They have the percussion and drums and everything is all pre-recorded. It's all on tape. So they just play with the 2 guitar players and that lead singer. So she gets up on stage and she's just this whirling dervish of energy, just owning that stage. The band does play with these kind of pulsating, like electronic, industrial style riffs with really almost metal guitar parts, and then she's doing her kind of thing over it. It's definitely not heavy metal, and she doesn't sing in a heavy metal style. She sings more like an electronic singer, I guess. I don't know if does that even make sense. I don't know. All I know is the crowd fucking ate it up. I mean, they owned that stage, and as it started getting darker and darker, their light show got cooler and cooler, and that was, I guess, the benefit of timing for them, because they got to play when the sun went from going down to completely gone. You know, I've heard the Sleigh Bells records. I wasn't that into them, but shit, live, that was fucking impressive. Sleigh Bells wrapped up about 9:15. I was basically done working for the rest of the day because that was the end of my stage. They only had the 2 headliners left. We're talking about The Faint and Run the Jewels. So I've seen The Faint a million times. They're from Omaha. They're great. They always put on a good show. They got the benefit of using Run the Jewels' full lighting rig, so that part was pretty cool. The Faint ran through, you know, the hits. They did Desperate Guys. They did Paranoia Attack. They did, you know, all of the songs that people would know from their first part of their career. They played some newer stuff off their most recent record, and it was a great show. The crowd seemed to eat it up, no problem. That's pretty much standard fare from The Faint. I wouldn't have expected anything less. And then closing out the festival was Run the Jewels, and holy shit, I don't mean to keep swearing so much in this video, but my God, were they awesome. I've been to a fair amount of rap shows in my day, but I don't think I've ever seen a show as good as Run the Jewels. They were so fucking excellent from the second they got out there. I got to watch Run the Jewels from the side of the stage, and most of the other people on the side of the stage, there's a bunch of us there, were the other bands who all wanted to watch them. Run the Jewels was the only main stage act that I watched pretty much the entire set because I didn't have anything else to do or any other place to be. I'm not sure if they were joking or not, or maybe I just wasn't in on the joke or something, but one of the members of the band, LP, announced that this was his final show with Run the Jewels. And I kind of hope that was part of some elaborate joke and I just maybe didn't get it, because that would suck if that was his last show. But so RTJ, as the kids say, had to cut their set short by just a few minutes, by about 10 minutes. They were supposed to do an hour because there was forecast for storms that were coming and there was lightning about 10 miles away. And the general rule when you're doing a festival is if there's lightning 10 miles or less away, you have to stop the show because it's just too dangerous otherwise. There's a liability issue, there's a safety issue. You don't want anyone to get hurt, and you certainly don't want the artist to get electrocuted. You don't want any of the crew getting electrocuted. So they had to call the show off a little bit early. It did end up raining. I don't know if there was actual lightning in that area, but man, they gave a great show anyways. So all in all, another fantastic festival. It was the second highest attended in the festival's history. I'm already thinking about next year. I'm thinking St. Vincent. Of course, I always say her. Esme Patterson, Twin Peaks. As far as some retro acts, I don't know, maybe Swerve Driver would do it. How about Bash and Pop? If you'd like to hear me expound at length on this festival, there's a link below to a podcast that I was recently a guest on, a show called Lives Radio with Stuart Chittenden, and we talked about the MAHA Music Festival. We also talked about my whole, past career in the music business and stuff, and you can get a real more in-depth thing about all of these acts that we talked about here at MAHA. I would suggest giving that a listen. All right, everybody, thanks a lot for watching, and to close out with just a little bit more Run the Jewels. Holy shit. By the way, before I say goodbye, in the middle of their set, I turned to my right to one of my friends who was staying next to me, and I go, dude, I'm buying every Run the Jewels album tomorrow. And I did. I just went on Amazon and ordered all the rest of the Run the Jewels stuff that I didn't have. That was serious. Those guys were so fucking good. Take care, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye. I told him we made it 2 missions and we'll never see victory. Now I refuse to play humble as though I did anything. I got money and I need your shit.